One man, one Murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Please. It begins now. Yes, indeed, folks. This is Gardener's Weekly with myself, Trowel Biscuit. Welcome to the show. What a wonderful selection of poppies and daisies we have for you today. Oh, I see. You're not fooled by my interesting facade, are you? No, you are not. Well, okay. I should probably try it again. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Blue Please here on cynicalbrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. Welcome to the show. What a show we have for you today. It is 4 minutes past 8 because I am fashionably late here in the British Isles. It is 4 minutes past 3 on the east coast of the United States. It is 4 minutes past 9 in the Central European summertime. And I'm doing a show about video games to other people that listen to shows about video games on the internet. I am literally the coolest person on the planet right now, without any question. What's coming up in the show for you today? Well, I'll talk about WoW and Cataclysm. Should you be surprised by that? I certainly hope not. It's not exactly unusual to be loved by anyone, unless you're a WoW player, in which case maybe your mother and your dog. But otherwise, it's not unusual to be... What is the rest of that song? I really don't know. It works. Mailbag is coming up very shortly. You can email in. Also, for the Cataclysm Q&A at the end of the show, you may do so. It is themurloc@cynicalbrit.com. That is themurloc@cynicalbrit.com. Send it in. Sounds good. I'll answer Cataclysm Q&A questions. So I did the Cataclysm Q&A, but I did it on a stage earlier. My voice is still a little hoarse, just a bit, not by much, but it is a little bit screwed. So yeah, it's good. Sort of recovering from about 16 hours worth of casting over the I-40 weekend. You can email in for the Cataclysm Q&A, and I did this hour-and-a-half stage broadcast where we went and punched Deathwing in the face, and I'm sorry, I was not impressed at all. I was like, the day Deathwing came is the best quest. It's not Welcome to the Machine. No, it's not the best quest. I did that quest, it's like, I gotta punch that dragon in the face. And he goes through there, and he beats on rocks, and he beats on more rocks, and then he punches the dragon, and that's it. That's it! That's all it was! And then, of course, they did the other ones like, I am the gnome, I am larger now. I will shrink the world. It takes about 10 minutes to find any bloody clouds. Oh, it's in the sun, honest. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not entertained. Are you not entertained? Because I am not. So yeah, Welcome to the Machine is better. Confirmed inside sources. Don't know what kind of sauces. Delicious sauces, I would imagine. What else? Well, there are other things coming up in the show, as there do tend to be. I'll be talking to you on the subject of an annoying, irritating, infuriating issue that is occurring right now in the beta that I was trying to get this sorted out earlier and things stopped me from doing so. I am not impressed. I am not impressed. So, yeah. I'll be talking about that a little bit later on the show. Also, Blizzard have announced that Heroic SFK and Heroic DM are going to be in at launch, which is great, because they said previously they were not going to do that, and I was very upset. It's like, wow, okay. You guys have just thrown your whole done when it's done thing completely out of the window. Not impressed. But apparently they're getting that sorted out, so I'll be talking about that a little bit later on, and as to whether or not they should even be recycling this content to begin with. I'll talk about a couple of things. I'll talk about some beta. That generally is the way the show goes. I don't really prepare much. I just rattle on for about an hour and a half, play some good music. That is the way to do it, in my honest opinion. We shall see. Right. what else do we have? Well, not all that much, really. Like, there are videos up on my channel. There are videos up on my channel all the time. Every time. It's not really too much of a big deal. So, why don't we just do this?
That sounds like it's mail time. Here's the mail.
It never fails.
It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes,
I want to wail.
Yes, indeed, folks, it is the mail time. That would be the time where we read the mail. Oddly enough. Really, honestly, it is. It's the time where the mail is read. So, let's have a look at the mail. We're going to start with this one. Dear host of shows. Wait a minute.
You dare look upon the host of souls! I shall devour you all!
Yeah, dear host of shows, if I understand correctly, you are of the opinion that Wrath of the Lich King raiding content, as well as the ability to obtain gear, was far too easy. And if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me however brutally you see fit. Spare no mercy. No, it's fine. You're totally right. That's exactly what I think. However, I somewhat disagree. Right, now I won't spare you any mercy. I think the badge system, as it currently is, really helps those new players to level 80 obtain gear. Thanks. Well done. You've stated the obvious. I really think that the badge system helps people who have just got to 80, who or also may very well be terrible, get a bunch of gear that they don't actually deserve. Yeah, we get it. It helps new players. It also helps bad players. Therein lies the problem with the system. It's just ridiculous. Of course it helps new players. It helps everybody get gear easier. That doesn't mean it's any good. That doesn't mean you should be supporting it. And that certainly doesn't mean that it's a positive change for the game. Anyway, it continues. To obtain level 80 gear for the top level raiding content without having to go through every single raid below. We had to go through every single raid below. Why don't they? You think they should be just jumping into tier 9 and 10? Because you know what that demonstrates to me? That demonstrates to me that tier 9 and 10 is too easy. I remember the day well, when we started off in Molten Core back all those years ago in the mists of time. I was with 39 other overweight drunken bastards, and we went by the name of the Halibuts. The Halibuts did enter Molten Core, and they were stopped there for months by an evil fiend. It went by the name of Lucifron. And Lucifron did defeat us over and over again, and we did wipe and we did cry, and we did scream to the heavens, will not somebody deliver us from the pain of these things we need to decurse? And Blizzard said, no! You must deliver yourselves. And so we did. And we progressed from tier to tier to tier in different raid guilds because the Halibut sucked and never actually got past Molten Core. Whatever. From tier to tier to tier. And it got harder and harder and harder to do. And yet in Wrath, it isn't. Okay. Explain to me the following, ladies and gentlemen. Why is level 4 of Game X harder than level 1 of Game X? Because it makes sense. That's what we call progression. We go from level to level to level to level, and as we're doing so, we are naturally getting better at the game. We have more experience, we understand the mechanics better, we are quicker on our feet, we have better reflexes, we have better strategy. And that's how it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, more difficult than the last, progressing through to the final boss, which should be the most dangerous thing you have ever encountered. And yet, with WoW, we go from tier 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. And it gets harder, right? Wrong! No, it doesn't, because Blizzard says so. Tier 8 is harder than tier 9. There are bosses on tier 7 that are harder than tier 9. Half of tier 10 is not as hard as some of tier 8. Go figure. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Of course it doesn't. Why would it? Because it is ridiculous. It doesn't fit into normal game design. Games aren't made that way. Why is it bad to skip levels? Because this isn't a single-player game. I don't want to be raiding with people that are inexperienced and yet somehow have the right to join because they are wearing tier 9. Because they didn't work for their tier 9. They don't learn that way. The point is, Naxxramas was supposed to be, and it failed, I might add, raiding 101. That was their point. They wanted to make it the Academy of Raiding. And it didn't. Because it was too easy. And it didn't teach you anything. Because you could stand in the fire. You could stand in the gloop. You could stand in the AoE and you would not die. I remember. Yes, indeed. I remember the original Instructor Resuvius. You want to know what happened when he got in line of sight of Disrupting Shout? It killed you. It hit you for 45,000 damage. And I had 5k HP at that level. Oh, yes. That's what I call a raid dungeon. That separated the men from the boys, the women from the girls, and the sheep from the lambs, I guess. Yes. Bloody Welshmen. That's how you train people to raid. You do not train people to raid by giving them a skip level cheat. It doesn't work. You end up being worse at the game. And this is a multiplayer game. It's a massively multiplayer game where progression matters. Therefore, you cannot skip the progression curve without sacrificing the integrity of raiding as a whole. So yeah, the point system's a bloody terrible idea. Next question. What else do we have? I've got a few things. Okay. Aha! Yes. Dear Mr. Biscuit, after hearing about the news, what they are doing to Zul'Gurub in Cataclysm, I was wondering for a little why Blizz would turn Zul'Gurub, one of my most favourite level 60 instances, into a low-level questing area. Now, though, I like what they're doing with Zul'Gurub. Let's face it, barely anyone runs ZG except for nostalgia. Really? Are you telling me that nobody runs a 20-man old-school dungeon with absolutely no value of any description anymore? Wow, I mind blown, man. Mind blown. It's almost as if people don't go back to Molten Core. Anyway, turning Zul'Gurub into a questing area could open paths for old raids and 5-mans to become new questing areas. Yeah, it could, because that's exactly what they're doing. Perhaps they could turn MC into it. No, and no. Do not suggest that. They might listen. Blizzard, if you're listening to this, please. He has no idea what he's talking about. We don't want to see Molten Core again. No, we don't. No. No Molten Core. It's bad. It's horrible. It's horrendous. It's oppressive. It smells. No Molten Core. Or maybe they could turn the Black Temple into a questing area where the roaming forces of Outlands are now fighting for control of the area. That's a great idea. I love that. I like this Zul'Gurub change. Okay, we get it, guys. Zul'Gurub is done. We've done it 1,000 freaking times. I've done the nostalgia raiding thing. It's not all that enjoyable. I'm sorry, it's not. You're going to have to face facts here. We did it with a guild called Arcanist Belt, specifically designed to make this stuff entertaining. And it wasn't entertaining. It's bad content. It's out of date. It's old. The mechanics just don't live up to what... I mean, you got power creep, for one thing. So even if you do it at level 60, it kind of sucks. I mean, some of the mechanics are pretty fun, but others are so simplistic. We've done it thousands of times before. Let old raids die. Please, just let them die. Turn them into questing hubs. Please, because at the end of the day, we killed Hakar. He's been cleared out. You want storyline progression? Because that's what this world is doing. That's what Cataclysm's all about. Progress the world. Make it advance beyond what it was 5 or 6 years ago. That's what you're going to get. So that means turning a dungeon we have already beaten 1,000,000 times. Trolls that we have defeated. Hakar that we have banished to wherever the hell he went. Probably some burger bar off the M40. Please, turn them into something useful. Something that has actually progressed on from the stage that they used to be at. It's a great idea. It's a perfect idea. I think it's also a fantastic way to show reverence to the old stuff. It's like, hey, what fun is the old stuff if you can ruffle stomp it solo at level 85? That gives... It doesn't enshrine it in the memory of anybody. But this used to be good content. Let's not make a mockery of it. Let's use the fact that it's progressed. Let's use the fact that we have beaten it to turn it into something useful. It sounds like a great idea. I don't see any harm in that. I'm looking forward to checking out and seeing what they've done with it. Because some of the architecture in there was really neat. I'd like to see more troll stuff. So, I wonder what's happened to Zul'Gurub. Well, I will find out when I go back into the beta. I will look. I will find it out. Don't worry. It's awesome. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I am a big fan of that change. Reminder, folks, Cataclysm Q&A at the end of the show. Email in themurloc@cynicalbrit.com. That is themurloc@cynicalbrit.com with your choice, and I will see what I can do for you. Yes, I shall. In the meantime, more soil work is required because it's awesome. I do have some new soil work for you. Let's see, which one shall I use? There are so many good tracks on this album. It's called The Panic Broadcast. It's fantastic. This one is called The Thrill. And I'll be right back after this to talk to you a little bit about why mandatory item level restrictions on LFG dungeons are a waste of time. Enjoy.